To order here, and we got a lot to get through. I just want to welcome you here and up there. I'm Joyce Richardson. I'm part of the leadership team, and the reason I am part of the leadership team is I also run the political action team. So APA began in November of 2016 in this very room after the debacle of the Trump election. Since then, we've managed to effect some change in the State House and the City Council ranks. We do this by educating our citizenry about issues and elections and putting as many boots on the ground and pens in people's hands as we can every election year. So we have action teams that work tirelessly to plan and execute our monthly meetings and advocacy both locally, statewide, and nationally. So that's who we are. Thank you for coming. Do we have any new members or first-time attendees? Just stand up and say, hey.
I am Sharon Davis. Thank you for having me.
Sure.
Sharon. And I'm Julia Graff.
All right. And since our last meeting, we've had Sharon Davis join and Isabel Alvarado, Tina Lechner, Renee Larate, and Emma Ragone. If anybody in that group on the screen, I can't see you guys. And do we have any elected officials in the audience today? Seeing none, I do want to introduce Sharon Davis. She is going to run for City Council at large, and she's got 3 minutes to tell us all about herself. Oh, yes. And Pat is our timekeeper, so watch her carefully.
I will watch carefully. Hi, I'm Sharon Davis. I will be running for City Council at the at-large position. Bob Pfeiffer is termed out, and so I am going to be running for his seat. I'm very excited to be here this evening. I have door knocked for several other folks like Lisa Smith and Lindsay Doherty, and so I've listened to what Arvadans have find important, and it is crime prevention and reduction. Affordable housing is a big one, and I have a lot of ideas about that. And then also helping the homeless. I'm really into making sure that folks who are on the cusp of leaving theirs or losing their stable home to retain their stable home, and those who have lost their stable home through no fault of their own, maybe their landlord has increased their rent or they got laid off, that type of thing, that we get those folks back into some stable housing. And then we can tackle that really difficult piece of the unhoused, of the folks with addiction, maybe mental health issues. I used to work for the city and county of Denver, and our largest growing group of homeless folks in 2019 were veterans, believe it or not, coming back from overseas. And so there needs to be a real big tie-in with the VA. I myself, I'm a very proud Air Force brat. My father served in the Air Force. He did tours in Korea and Vietnam. He is unfortunately no longer with us, but I am very proud of his service. And my sister was in the Army, and she was in the first desert program, pardon? Desert Storm. There was another one before Desert Storm. So she was in that. And her job was to in-process and out-process GIs. So she has a special place too, because she used to write those letters to parents that started with, "On behalf of a grateful nation." So I am very excited about running for city council. I've wanted to do it for a very long time, but I'm not sure if you knew that in Arvada's city charter, it says if you work for another municipality, you cannot sit on city council. So it doesn't matter if you are a solid waste worker or an admin support person, or like me, I was a risk manager you can't run for the city. So when I retired in May, I said, I'm running and I'm very excited about it. Does anyone have any questions for me? Well, you're awfully kind. Oh, yes.
I'd like to hear more about this notion of crime rates going up, because the statistics just don't support that.
So it's crime reduction and prevention. So in my neighborhood, I live in the Alta Vista neighborhood, and I live in a very short part of Kipling. And just recently, we've had a lot of people going through our front yards, walking through our front yards, looking at what we have, and doing some small petty crime. So it's really, can we get people to realize what's going on, maybe send their Ring doorbell video off to APD and do some community, not necessarily policing, but doing some community awareness and having folks report to APD when small things are happening. Recently, what's very shocking in Arvada is we have had 2 police officers killed while in the line of duty. And so those are things that we really need to think about in terms of prevention and reduction. We haven't had that in over 20 years in Arvada, so let's not have it again for another 20 years. So there's a lot to do with education, outreach, and really teaching folks to watch out for one another. So that's what I'm looking for in terms of prevention and reduction.
Thanks.
Anyone else? Well, thank you, you kind people. I'm off now to my Kiwanis. I belong to the Kiwanis. Does anybody here belong to Kiwanis? We have chili bunko tonight up in the Village of Five Park. So I'm off to set up for that. But thank you so much for your time and your attention.
Thank you for stepping up.
Absolutely. Happy Black History Month, everybody.
Could we get your contact information?
Yes, Pat has it.
Okay, thank you.
And so, yeah. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
It was Desert Shield.
Yes, Desert Shield. Yes.
Okay, all right. We would like to take a little bit of time since we have people both on Zoom and here. So people on Zoom, just raise your hand if you want to respond. But we've often done what gives you hope and also what keeps you up at night. It can be an and or. So weigh in, folks. Anybody? Yes.
What gives me hope are groups like this that are like-minded and forward-thinking. And what keeps me up at night usually is what's going on in Washington.
Karen.
What's keeping me up at night right now is we just, as of a few weeks ago, lost access in every hospital in Jefferson County for women who are having cesarean sections and want to have a concurrent tubal ligation. All of the Centura Health facilities in Jefferson County have stopped that procedure. And that includes the secular Lutheran, and it includes the secular Good Sam, and of course it includes the not so secular and hasn't ever been secular St. Anthony's. So the place you would have to go if you needed that procedure is Adventist in Boulder County.
In what county, Karen?
What?
In what county?
Boulder, Adventist in Boulder County.
What's the reasoning for that?
Catholic teachings, they had a re-education.
Oh, man.
And so when those.
Why does that impact Lutheran? Yeah.
Because Lutheran is a member of Centura Health.
Oh.
And when they became a member of Centura Health and went from whatever they were before, their joining agreement put them under Catholic procedures. Adventists explicitly refused that. So it was lack of clarity on Lutherans' thinking part, I think, would be a nice way to say it.
So what can we do? Yeah, what can we do? I mean,
Well,
seems like
it's coming up at the legislature this year.
okay.
And I don't know exactly how that's going to work out, but I'm told that there's a bill coming and we can testify for that. But the real danger here is that this also happened in Pueblo there is only one hospital for the entirety of southeast Colorado.
Yeah.
This happened in Durango. There's only one hospital for the entirety of the southwestern quadrant of Colorado, west of out the Central Valley. And this happened in Summit County. There's only one hospital in Summit County. So if you're a woman who has to have a C-section and you want a tubal ligation done concurrently, as opposed to spending $9,000 to $10,000, then you, and you're in Summit County, then you must come down to the foothills to Adventist to have that done.
So please contact Brianna Tintoni and also Lindsay Doherty.
Right.
She is our folks here in the District 24 and 27, and let them know your thoughts. I do know that Lindsay, she is our state rep, but she also represents children ad litem in her personal law practice. So please do reach out to the two of them and let them know your thoughts.
Okay.
Also Rachel's in.
And Rachel Zenzing.
And some people in West Arvadans will also have Lisa Cutter.
Yeah.
Lisa Cutter, among the four of them, Lisa Cutter is probably, I mean, they're all progressive, but Lisa Cutter is the most actively feministly progressive. And she's
Okay,
very-
we have our marching orders. Is there anyone else? Yeah.
I would also just say Elephant Circle. I don't have anybody mention them. There are states that have the justice on top. The ones that do the sunset review and do a lot of things with the incarcerated women and the way that they're dealt with pregnancies and things.
What's the name of it?
Elephant Circle?
Thank you.
It sort of gives me hope that the Republicans keep acting like total idiots, and if they continue that over the next 2 years, then that gives me some hope that we will get back the House and be able to get some things done. That's kind of a negative positive.
Yeah, but we've got 23 Senate seats up and they only have 11, so we're gonna have to work it for it.
We're hard. We can do it.
Bye, Sharon.
Sharon.
Bye.
I have to say, I'm terrified about what is happening in all of Florida with nobody standing up to say book banning is bad, DeSantis is out of control. Teachers are being hamstrung on what they can teach. That just terrifies me that there doesn't seem to be any opposition to that. And, you know, they're looking at DeSantis as the savior from Trump as Republicans, and that's not a good thing. So, and I don't know if I have hope.
Well, I will give one little ray of hope. My 6-year-old came home with I have a dream 2 piece of paper, and he wrote, there will be no pollution with happy people. So.
There you go.
And that was his own message, so. The future generations.
Good.
Yeah.
The future generation.
Yeah.
Okay, this is our election meeting as well. And we have a very kind soul who has stepped up to say they will be treasurer for APA. And I would like to give him a chance to speak. And I also will be taking nominations from the floor per our bylaws. But I'm going to let Jim Kreider speak first.
Okay. I should probably speak from where the owl can see me, huh?
Yeah.
All right. I thought I'd start with this brief introduction with what Barack Obama said when he went to Georgia during the Warnock and what's his name race. What's his name?
Awesome.
No,
Walker.
well, Herschel Walker.
Okay.
And he was speaking about his objection to Herschel Walker as a U.S. Senator. And obviously there are many, but the one that I was especially interested in was he referred to a lack of a record of public service. And I thought, speaking of your concern, Joyce, wouldn't our world be a better place if the Republican Party chose only candidates with a record of public service instead of
Yeah.
Herschel Walker types? So I thought I'd start with, I don't have a long record of public service, but what I spent too many hours to count doing for 33 years was teaching high school social studies with a focus on public policy issues and ethical decision-making, which I think I was very lucky to be in the western suburbs of Chicago and get hired at the right school that had that approach to social studies education. So raising kids and doing that, I didn't have a lot of time left, but I've also escorted at abortion clinics in the western suburbs of Chicago. I have written multiple letters to the editor in various locations I've lived. My only one here didn't get printed. I have prepped food and served some at Rising since I've come here. What's left? We'll call that enough for now. I was born on the West Coast, went to the University of the Pacific and got a bachelor's degree in history, moved to Illinois to marry my wife, who I met working summers at Glacier National Park in Montana, and got a master's degree in history from Northern Illinois University, taught for 33 years. I retired in 2017, and we discovered that we didn't discover. We were very well aware that we were living in Illinois when I retired, and we had, at this point today, we have a son in California, a son in North Carolina, and a daughter in Colorado. And my wife said, we're not retiring in Illinois. So we moved first to Minnesota, where a son worked at that point. He's the one now in North Carolina. Anyway, we've been here for a year and a half. I'm delighted to find Arvadans interested in progressive action. And I would be happy to do a little bit of service as your treasurer. I don't have a lot of financial experience other than my family finances. I do have, Robin and I figured out I had an 819 credit report, if that means anything to you. And I have a facility with numbers, which I can prove if you'd like to test me. I don't know any calculus, but I don't think I need that for this position. So again, thank you. That's me. You'll meet my wife, Jan, at future meetings. She's been at one or two of them. But today she's got something else going. So
Great.
hi, Rob.
I want to add that Jim was really, he was very careful to help establish his credibility with us. And so he provided me with, I think you gave me like 8 names of former colleagues that you had worked with, in your professional life. And I reached out to all of them. And I think 6, I might be off on numbers, but responded and glowing recommendations from every single one of them about Jim's ethical decision making and his character. So I felt very comfortable, but I wanted to share.
Thank you.
Okay.
Second, I don't make that.
Would you second the hand
And do we have any nominations from the floor for treasurer? Seeing none, or on Zoom, do we have any?
No, just
Hearing or seeing none? Closing the nominations, we have Jim Kreider up for treasurer, seconded by Laura Andes. And all in favor, say yay. All any nays? All right, we have a treasurer. Yay. All right. Let's see, the other nomination that I'm going to call for is we do not have a chair. I will ask for nominations from the floor. Anybody want to step up and
Joyce, do you want to talk about who's done it in the past?
Sure. In the past, our chairs have been Rachel Smallwood.
Yay.
Greatest niece ever. One of the greatest nieces ever.
And the best founder of APA.
And the founder of APA. Robin Kupernick, Brian Arnold Reniker, Heather Arnold Reniker, Zoe Tobier, and Carolyn Zimmerman all replaced Rachel 3 years later. And then Rebecca Hernandez has been our chair for the last couple of years. And, you know, it's a tough job, and, you know, people kind of sign up for it for 2 years, and they're essentially the voice of APA. And if we get no chair, the plan is that leadership will just do it. The leadership team will split responsibilities until we can identify someone who would really like to be that face of APA or is ready to kind of take on. I mean, I don't think it's a really hard job, but it is time consuming, and you know, I'm
And it
old
could be
and I'm
more than
tired.
one person, correct?
And it can be more than one person, because if we don't have a chair, it's going to be like 8 people or 9 people. Anyone? Okay, well, we're going to table that for now, and hopes that we can find someone that would like to take leadership, give it a stab. It's a good learning experience, is what I think. But okay, so chair is tabled. Let's see, there's a donation basket right here. We do have to pay for our room. We don't do fundraisers or anything. If you have a few dollars of extra cash and want to put it in the basket, we would appreciate it. Our regular monthly costs are what, about $75?
We have reoccurring costs of 110.
110, recurring cost of 110. So any help we can get, that would be great. And we have added we have added actually 3 new action teams. We have a social connections team, we have a new communications team, and we have regenerated the education team. So we would like to give all of those people who are going to take over those teams about 3 minutes to talk about their team, and then the rest of the groups will have a couple of minutes to talk. So I'm going to introduce Julie Callahan, who has agreed to start up our social connections action team.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm Julie Callahan. I was one of the original members at the very beginning. I'm social. I like people. I like to talk to people. My vision for social connection is to use social connections to grow. What I would like is 3 or 4 people to join me, and once a week we will have a coffee, a meet and greet, a restaurant, maybe just go for a walk. Just once a week, something where people can start getting connected, and invite people who just want to come visit. Once summer begins, I would like a once a month potluck with a theme being a country. So I want people to come and visit and meet each other and really be connected. What was the other thing I was going to say? I don't want it to just always be a bar, because not everybody drinks. We have a lot of retirees. I think they would appreciate getting together for coffee. I thought it'd be a great idea to have a Boulder team where we can all just put on our t-shirts and go walking. But people have to show up to do that. So that's sort of my vision. My name is Julie. I'm barely on Facebook anymore. So I will not be, I don't have Messenger even on my phone anymore because Facebook's just ugly. So I will offer up my cell phone number. What I'd like to do is have people once a month, we can get together and talk about what we're going to do for the month, and then put it on Facebook to let people know so they can connect, because I think especially in this day and age, we need to connect because there's a lot of conspiracies. And I do worry about fascism, and we need to connect with people to keep them from going down that road. I'm open to suggestions, but I really think just connecting with people is fun. I would like to see outreach at like college campuses to get people involved, because I think it's as crazy as this sounds. Our future is that age group. They look at the Republicans like they're out of their minds and they don't know how to get involved quite yet. So I think we could sweep them up, and we could put them on the right track on how to connect with people and talk about things we have in common, because most of us have this in common. We just aren't sucked into the fascist idea that that's the way to go. Yes.
I'm really excited to see you do this, so I will try to come every once in a while. To
Good.
coffee, whatever. One
Good.
idea that's always been out there and the Rick talked up one is, I don't know if you know about the group Better Angels.
I've heard of it. I've not.
So they take Republicans and Democrats and like do facilitated talks with the idea that it prevents, builds community, stops othering.
Yeah.
And their their whole mission is prevent fascism through
Yeah.
it.
What's it called?
Better Angels. I've always thought it could be a cool sort of, I don't know if people were interested in that.
Yeah,
but, you know,
I just like the idea, because once you start talking, people are open to talking. It's just, we never talk anymore.
Exactly.
So,
Anyway, I'll talk.
thank you for your vote. Thank you for your vote. My cell phone is 720.
What's that? We should say we're a nonpartisan group.
720.
Wouldn't catch that.
633.
But we are.
1348.
Nonpartisan.
Right.
Right,
Thank you.
Well, you don't have to be, I did people.
We are?
different. You don't have to be a registered Democrat, just,
We don't identify as.
Yeah.
Yeah, we try to stay as nonpartisan.
we're a 501c3, we're not a 501c3.
no,
for.
we are a two.
We aren't
We are
a
a
C3.
taxable,
Yeah.
unincorporated nonprofit association. Not follow any 501 rule. Or don't apply to them.
I don't understand how we can be nonpartisan when we're Arvadans for progressive action.
Because we're not affiliated with a party.
We're
Yeah.
not required to
Oh,
support
okay.
Democrat. If we
Right.
don't like a Democrat.
If
we
there's
don't have
a
to support.
progressive candidate that's not
Okay.
a Democrat.
And if there's an independent we like, we can support them. We're not connected to the Democratic Party.
Okay.
If there was a progressive Republican, I'd vote for him.
Yeah. Just,
What are the
it
chances?
just shakes up. Anyway, so Quincy is not here, but we do. Oh, she is up there. Okay. So we have, sorry, Chris. We have communications team, Quincy.
Hello, everyone. I'm so sorry that I can't be there in person today. I'm actually on the East Coast for this weekend with family, but I am very excited to be here in spirit virtually. I am the new communications lead. As in the way of what qualifies me to be here, I do communications for nonprofits professionally. So I really wanted to get involved in local politics, and this felt like a way that I could lend some of my expertise and learn from you all about organizing and advocacy work. And we just recently moved to Westminster like 4 months ago. So we're just starting to learn some of those local issues, and very, very excited to be digging in with all of you and learning at your feet. You probably have seen my name on some emails that have come up in your inbox recently. I am certainly still crafting my vision for what I want the communications role to be in this group. And as I have a little bit more bandwidth in the spring, I'm looking forward to getting more active on social and hearing your ideas and bringing some of those to life about how we can get more involved in the community through our external comms. In the meantime, if anybody has a passion for or skill for any sort of digital communications work or traditional media, please reach out to me. You have my email in your inbox every single Monday. So that's a good way to reach me. Otherwise, I can put my phone number and email in the chat as well, so that all of you have that on hand. But very, very happy to be here. I've loved all of the time that I've gotten to spend with folks from the team and from the group. So thank you so much for having me. And I'm looking forward to hearing from just getting an inbox flooded with people who are excited to help out. Thanks so much. Did you have any questions?
Yeah, Quincy, can I ask a question, or actually ask you to say something to the group? if people have joined APA on Facebook, but did not give Pat your email address, you're not really, you won't be getting Quincy's emails, you won't be getting correspondence from us. It's almost like you're not a member other than just that private Facebook group. So please, if you're interested, make sure we get your email as well, so we can keep in communication with you. And you can be a more active voice in APA.
That's perfect.
I
Thank
think
you so
every
much.
single person that I see is on our database, and that means they have an email.
Okay, and next we have Allison, who's going to head up our education team.
All right. Hi, I'm Allison Phipps. I just moved to Arvada last April from Denver, so fairly new to Arvada area, but we've been in Colorado for almost 12 years. The reason I am kind of heading up this education team is just because I have small children. And so I have a first grader at Vanderhoof Elementary and a 4-year-old that's in preschool. I haven't done anything with the education team yet, but if you are interested, I'm going to get that listserv from Robin and start sending out emails. I have a few ideas so far, but I'm for sure like looking for, other people who are educators who might have, issues that are coming up. I know last year in the fall, there was that social studies standard that was kind of a hot button topic, and we heard about it. We sent a lot of letters and emails, and that got, how do I phrase this? Like, it didn't get passed. Those restrictions didn't get passed. So those are the sort of efforts we're looking for. Two items that I think I'd like to focus on is the universal pre-K is rolling out next year, which is great, but I'm finding that it's very messy and a lot of daycares are not participating, including the one that my son goes to. So there are a lot of issues with this law being messy rolling out. So I think some lawmakers could appreciate some feedback. So I'd like to figure out the best way to kind of collect that feedback, maybe deliver it to Lindsay, so that we can kind of how can we better make this universal pre-K accessible to everybody so that daycares can participate and families can participate. So, I'm looking for ideas like that. That's my first, maybe we can do something with this. But if you hear anything going on in a public school system or daycare system, please bring it to my attention, and we will try to figure out what APA can do and what action items we can be helpful for in the education realm. So
Can we fix Florida?
the keeping up at night thing, I just saw that they were going to recommend that if you were on a team, like athletics team, that you would have to report your menstrual cycles.
Oh, dear God.
And I'm just like, what? Florida's, I don't know. So thankful we live in Colorado. I don't know what we can do at Florida. Yeah, but we'll keep that on our radar.
I
Yes.
just wanted to say that Arvada has 4 representatives at the State House.
Mhm.
Laura, Lindsay,
Lindsay,
Brianna,
Brianna.
Rachel, and Lisa. And every single thing we do has to hit all 4 of them because they all represent residents of Arvada. We gotta spend our name as big as we can.
Yeah, and that makes sense. Yeah, Lindsay is my rep, but
Right.
yeah, everyone
Brianna's
lives.
ours.
Yeah.
And we probably, we could live across the street.
I can give you some lemonade in all this. So I co-chair the Jedi committee in the school, there by 70 Kipling. And we're getting ready to host our 7th annual Welcoming Schools National Day of Reading. I started this I Am Jazz partner with the Human Rights Campaign. We're the first school in Colorado to do it. Today of Reading supporting transgender, non-binary youth. So I'm actually coordinating the community event. And our first year we did it, we brought in a medical panel, we did the book readings to programs for kids, and we're going to do something like that again this year. So there's lemonade in all of this too. And I can let you know.
Yes, absolutely. And I think, were you on the calls with I feel like we were on a call together in the fall about those Jedi groups and trying to connect them all, and we were probably on a call together, but I would love.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a hot mess, but I've been head down with my kids' school for years now. Then done a lot of works, if you want to see a timeline of possible things, like we're kind of becoming the standard for the Alliance for Public Wellness Education.
Yeah, I would love that.
Is there anything with teacher pay coming up? Because I noticed I work in as a.
Okay, I found this on the web for Is There Anything Coming Out? Check it out.
Siri, be quiet.
Like, let me answer your question. I found this on the web for you.
Anyway, they do a lot of work. I do a lot of work in schools with infrastructure. So we're getting a lot of money for infrastructure, but the teachers aren't getting any more money.
Yeah.
You know, I just saw, and I was trying to figure it out. I'm on integrative schools and there's this budget stabilization factor where, so there might be something in that where we could have an effort towards making sure that the funds that were allotted for public education go to public education and don't get redistributed to other parts of Colorado. I am not a pro on like what this is, but it's something that has come to my attention that happens in
I
Colorado.
think you should
So-
meet with Rachel Zenzinger, our senator.
Mhm.
She'll educate you on education. I know there.
There's really no one to speak that talk.
Looking at that, because they have to go against Tabor, and that's for working for budget stabilization. So there
It
was
is
like
a
another
village.
contract, I was trying to get the signatures. They fell down the signatures, but we were going just for that. So right now, the groups that the education groups are regrouping because that's going to be a no-go in the progress.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, so along that line, I assume there's gonna be another effort to try to go around Tabor to properly fund public education. There's been two since Polis was elected. He opposed both of them, by the way. So that's something the Education Committee has been somewhat involved in the past, and we also have school board elections this year, so.
Yeah.
Sounds like there's a monthly meeting in here.
All right.
What you wanna.
Right. And I'll reach out to the listserv because it sounds like a lot of people are interested and I'm by no means like a pro at like know everything about education. So I appreciate feedback and like notifications of like, hey, this is going on and we need to pay attention to this. I'm just going to be organizing the meetings and like facilitating the conversation, but yeah.
And you know that the database is organized, that people who have said they're interested in education,
It's in
you'll be able to
MailChimp.
sort on that, and I'm sure.
I haven't gone into MailChimp yet, but
Where they're tagged education.
okay.
Yeah, and that'll be your
I'll send out
distribution
an
list
email
for starters.
Sometime in February and get started with that. So, yeah. So, hi.
Okay, Kathy, if you want to pop up here for healthcare and then we'll have Bruce after that.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to start with the reason why I'm doing this. I have a current healthcare story. My mother she's in New Jersey, she's 94. She went to the ER on January 19th with a gallbladder blockage. She waited over 1 week in the hospital for the procedure. And then 5 days later, the hospital released her to my sister, who was inexperienced, and she was overwhelmed. My mom slept on the floor for 3 nights and couldn't make it to the bathroom. Yesterday, the team took her back to the ER, and they are now doing the evaluation, which they should have done before they let her out of the hospital after the procedure. She also has liver cancer, by the way. Hopefully she will go to a rehab facility because she couldn't walk after that. She has original Medicare and a supplement, fortunately. So that's one of the reasons why I do healthcare reform. And we have meetings on the second Saturday. The next one is on February 11th from 4 to 5 p.m. on Zoom. Last month, a lot of you were here and we had our general meeting on healthcare, and there is a bill and a procedure and a strategy to get universal single payer Medicare for all, publicly financed, privately delivered, lots of different ways to say it, healthcare to happen in Colorado. And that's what our team is focusing on right now. I have some handouts. You guys want to know more about what the strategy is and what it's going to look like. So hopefully the bill is out, and they're getting feedback and it should be out in the legislature by February 14th. So we'll see. That's the latest. So the first bill is going to assess costs and benefits, do a kind of an actuarial analysis. Okay, we're also I won't go into detail. We're contacting legislators to promote Medicare for all and discourage fraud, rampant Medicare Advantage. That's on the federal level. But we're doing a lot on the state. So when the bill comes out, we really need a lot of people to call legislators and talk to them. And we have already. There's also a new hospital procedure or movie premiere documentary coming up in April. So there's a lot going on in healthcare and we'd love to have your support. We've already got like 5 people involved, pretty much regularly involved. So I'm gonna pass some of these
Is
out.
the blog updated if people wanted to read more about it on our website?
No. And the other thing is the recording of last month's or January 7th is available and it's going to be put on the website probably in the next week. So everybody can watch it, some of it. Anyway, can I pass this out? Yeah, this is basically the strategy and what's you got from last time? Okay. Thank you all. Any questions?
Hi, it's great to see everyone here. This is, you found where the action is. It's right here. Changing Arvada and advocating for better policies around the United States. Action teams are a good way to get involved in Arvadans for Progressive Action. So check us out. I'm Bruce Morrison. I'm going to report on the anti-war action team.
Bruce,
Yes.
take 2 steps that way.
Okay. 1 here.
There you go.
Oh. Okay.
You want the owl to be able to see you.
Yeah, right. Okay. Anyway, of course, on the anti-war action team, we're very concerned about Ukraine. American people want peace. Ukrainian people want peace. The Russian people want peace. However, a year ago, as everyone knows, Russia invaded Ukraine. This was an unjustifiable war crime, and it has been followed by multiple additional war crimes. Over 200,000 people have died. Millions are refugees. Ukraine is being destroyed. The earth is being destroyed. I don't want to be too despairing, but people may disagree on how to respond to this war, but we should all agree that our government should be doing everything it can diplomatically to get Russia to withdraw and end the war. Anything less is prolonging the war and sacrificing Ukraine to take down Russia. Sometimes this seems like just way too much to take in, but what we're trying to do is to bite off a piece that we can chew. So what the anti-war team is planning on doing is hosting a discussion of this using a video presentation of Media Benjamin's new book, War in Ukraine, how to making sense of a senseless conflict. This will be very informative. We haven't set a date. I will send out notices when we have a date. Also, I'll wrap up here. We need your help. I'm not a real organizer. I need people to keep me on task. I need people to help me organize these things. And also we need people to just come to our events and do our calls to action and provide us with some energy around this. I have cards with my contact information, and if you have any time or energy to work on this, I'd appreciate you getting
and contact with me. Thanks.
Environmental team. And
Hi there.
Mindy.
My name is Taylor Jernigan. I am the team lead for the APA environmental team. Our primary, oh, you can see me. Our primary activity in the upcoming month is going to be assisting with the Winterfest Festival. The Arvada Festivals Commission has a goal of zero waste for all the festivals. And APA volunteers join with others to assist in the sorting of trash, recyclable, and compostable materials. So I'd like to urge everyone to participate. Not only do you get to do a good thing for the environment, but you get bling. So this is the t-shirt that I got at Arvada on Tap. They identified the volunteers with these nice yellow bandanas at the Arvada Fest. So I'm sure that there will be some sort of bling that you will also get. Plus, you have free admission as well. So I urge you to contact if you are interested in helping out. We have a contact Gmail at apaenvpeam@gmail. So contact me, and the Winterfest is on Saturday, February 25th. It's going to be at McElvey Park in Old Town. See you there.
I am Mindy Moore, and I've been leading the affordable housing team. We do not have regular meetings, but since 2017, we were meeting periodically with the city of Arvada, the housing authority, and some of the city management to push back in 2017 for more affordable housing in Arvada. And I think anyone who reads the newspapers or watches the news knows now that it's a crisis across our state. It's not just Arvada that has an issue with affordable housing. Unless you own your own home and have for some time, if you're a renter, it's difficult, or if you're trying to buy a home, it's difficult. The city is forming a citizens housing advisory committee similar to their parks and festival committees and sustainability committees. I think they'll be interviewing people in February for that, and they're trying to hire a housing resource or development specialist. But there's such a huge focus on housing across the state right now. Every city's trying to find people with that expertise. So Arvada has extended the open period for that job like 3 or 4 times now. And I still don't know if they've had anyone apply, that they can hire. But once they do have someone there, we'll start our periodic meetings with them again to, keep putting pressure on the city about the need for affordable housing. It's definitely a challenge. So I'd encourage anyone who isn't already on the MailChimp, isn't already getting emails from me. And if you're interested in that or in joining our team, like I said, it's not a big time commitment right now. We don't meet regularly, but we'd love to have your energy and thoughts. Thanks.
I have a question.
Oh,
For joining action committees, is the best way to do that to go to the website and click on the action committee? Like, how do you get flagged on MailChimp to get specific emails?
You let somebody know, and often that's me, but it could be anybody, really. It could be anybody on leadership gets told you want to be. Sorry. Hush. And we just tag you. You're already in the database, and that way, when one of the leader of that team that you're interested in, hopefully every time they send a communication out, they go to MailChimp and do a new sort, so that if somebody new has just joined their, said they're interested, everybody will be included. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so I guess if somebody was interested in the housing team or the education team, the best thing to do is to.
well, when they're here, they on the new member sign in, they can say which teams they're interested in. When they become a new member, Pat asks them, please let me know what teams you're interested in. But if you're an existing member and you didn't do that, and you want to join a team you didn't join before, you could even write to our Gmail address.
Yeah. Okay. Most people don't join right away. They want to get to know the group a little bit and make a decision later on.
Okay. I just wanted to know process. How are you doing? Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, great. And I'm last. So, I run the political action team and I am begging for help, but actually we won't be doing too much because we don't have candidates yet other than, Sharon. She's the only one so far that has filed for anything, but there will be, the city council races and the school board that we'll be involved in. And one of the big things that we do is present forums with the candidates. We will probably piggyback with another group for the school board, and we will run our own for the city council. And that'll probably happen in October because they have until the end of August to file, and I can't get people ready for an early September meeting to come to a forum. So it'll be in October or late September. We've done that before too.
City council, mayor. district
4 seats. So mayor, at large, District 4 and District 2.
Okay, so Dave Jones and
Lauren Simpson.
Lauren Simpson. Okay.
And then do you want to explain about the questions that we asked them? The questions that we asked them?
Yes, we will be developing a questionnaire to send out to all the candidates. And we post that on our website and try to drive people to the website to read that. We will do a survey of our members and may or may not endorse a particular candidate or all of them. Yeah.
Are all 4 of those positions termed out or, okay,
No, Dave Jones will run again.
okay. that's
Lauren
number 4?
Simpson will, yeah, that's
number
4. And Lauren Simpson will run again, I'm sure, in 2. I mean, this is off the top of my head, it's pure scuttlebutt right now.
Is it scuttlebutt that Dave Jones is going to run? Because I've heard otherwise.
Oh, well,
So I don't think that one's for sure yet.
okay, that may not be.
And that's from his previous campaign manager.
Yeah. And, there's always rumors and,
Yep, there are.
we'll wait and see. But if you know any good candidates, good progressive candidates, push them toward the elections.
Yeah,
Yes.
I just got a quick question. Are you planning on getting involved in the school board race, or does that fall with the education committee?
Well, we'll do questionnaires and,
Questionnaires and an endorsement.
right,
Yeah. Okay.
but,
But if you want forums,
school board has always been almost impossible for me to find out who's running. I don't know why it's so hard, but it's really, really hard. It doesn't seem to be anywhere. I think they filed through the district actually, and it's really hard to get that information. But anyway, I don't want to take up any more time. We have a program that Allison has developed. Allison Phipps has been involved in a variety of volunteer groups and nonprofits since she was a young college student, and she has a professional background in visual communications, works full-time for a marketing and media company in Boulder. And we are delighted that she is sharing her expertise and developed the survey for us and tabulated all the results. And she's already told you that she has 2 lovely boys and
All right.
run the education group. So
Yeah.
take it away, Allison.
All right, we're gonna. I think we'll have a survey up. And it was a lovely purple, but this is all showing up in black and white, so that's okay. I thought purple could be our color. So yeah, she said I'm a graphic designer. I work in visual communications for an agency up in Boulder. So survey, it's not, I'm kind of a professional. The surveys are a little bit outside of my realm, but I thought it'd be nice to survey our group starting off this year, to get a little bit of feedback when we're going into 2023. What should we focus on? What should we What are our members interested in? How do we get people more engaged? And how do we bring them in? We have over 500 people on the Facebook group and probably more on our listserv, and only 25 people responded the first round. And then we did, I think that says 34. This is including 37 respondents. So after a second push. So we do have the initial, like, I want to just caveat these survey results. These are people who are active enough to fill out our survey. So the first 25 was mostly like leadership members and people that you see at regular meetings. So the data was like a little skewed. As more people filled it out, there were, you know, when we get to the slide where we're talking about people who regularly attend meetings, that like number started to tick down. So what we would like to do in future surveys is hopefully get more people who are not engaging regularly to help inform us why and how do we get them to engage more and what can we do. So we'll go through some of those results and we can talk about like what we think, you know, we can focus some efforts on. So next slide, please. This first one, and it has the question up there and then the graph and some points that I'm going to call out. So how do you currently interact with the group? So 89% of users do read the weekly emails, they get them. They would have to if they filled out this survey, because how else would they have gotten this? They either got it from the email or the Facebook page. So 73% get involved during election season. We did see that last fall. Our meetings were well attended around October, September, when we had the candidates meet and greet. That was really well attended. I think that was great. And people seem to say, yeah, I get involved when there's something to get involved with. 48% post or comment on Facebook. I think, again, this is a little bit lower. A lot of people interact on Facebook. Some people have abandoned Facebook or social media. So we can't rely completely on Facebook to get our information out and to interact. So I think some of those smaller email groups, and we might want to think about like flyers or handouts that are at the meetings. I'm not sure, but you know, just something to think about. We have people interacting on Facebook, but there are a lot of people who attend regularly that do not interact on Facebook. And then 44% attend monthly meetings, regularly attend monthly meetings.
And Allison, this is percents out of the 37 people who answered.
Right. Yes. So 37 people that answered, those are people that are already mostly involved. So if only 44% of them are coming to monthly meetings, about half those people that responded. Now there were, that second time that we pushed it out, Quincy did say, you know, we want your input, even if you do not regularly attend, we want your input. So I think the 25 of those are people who are, you know, are pretty involved. And then the 12-ish people, thank you, could be people that are less engaged. And then, of course, there's a bunch of other, and we can send out this presentation via email, post on Facebook, so you can kind of see. There's some other ways that people interact. So 2 people just said, I don't really interact, like, thanks for filling out the survey. Like, you know, so members get involved when there is an actual item, and on the off season, they're still following along via email. That's kind of the key takeaway of this. So next slide, please. For this question, I just kind of pulled out a few statements that were kind of interesting. There are more in the spreadsheet. For leadership members, I think you've already all gotten the spreadsheet, but there are specific comments that go for action groups and stuff, and you can read through them and reach out to people if need be. So are there ways you wish you could interact with the group that are not currently available? So not everybody loves action teams. We are kind of split up, but I think being able to give our action team updates here at the meetings is a good thing. Different day time for monthly meetings would help. So just not that I think we should switch our monthly meetings, but know that like Saturday at 4 o'clock is not working for everybody. So there might, when we're talking about social events, we might want to think weeknights or mornings for people that are retired, or just kind of other times of days. There might be some people that cannot come at this time, but would come to other events. Informal basketball, sports, gaming leagues, you kind of touched on that. I might like to get more involved in 2023, particularly environmental issues. We will just send that person an email. Would like to contribute to social media, but don't want sole responsibility. That's where Quincy will step in and she'll be like, hey, you don't have to have sole responsibility, but we'll get you on the communications team. So these were just some good, really good comments from people. And and the last one up on the, I'd like to hear from people that are concerned about transportation in the area. So there's some interesting groups that we don't have action teams for. And I'm not saying we need like 10 more action teams, because there's always going to be another issue. But we are going to address that with Ian coming to talk. So I think that probably might have been from him actually. So he's the one interested in transportation, but yeah, you know, so all right, next slide. In your own words, what is the main reason you joined Arvadans for Progressive Action? And I would say that these are all different variations of the same thing. People want to find a like-minded community of Arvadans to help to socialize with and to work with on social justice issues at a local level, shared values, and a real need to prevent the red wave. Want to support progressive ideas, but are very introverted. So there are people that are maybe not comfortable coming to these monthly meetings. Maybe they don't want to socialize either. So I don't know the best way to get people involved, but there are progressives out there that are introverts. Just information to know. I felt compelled by the state of politics in our country to join a group that was pushing for progressive policy and action that would help in the community. Donald Trump election, the dread and fear that came with it, and need to do something. That was why actually Roe v. Wade overturned was the impetus for me to join this group. So there are things that are happening where people just feel like, okay, I got to do something. What can I do? So yeah, and then the last one, I'm a progressive Arvad, and I appreciate having organization that represents my values and provides real opportunities to take action. So next slide. What are your top four goals as a member? And I do want to, I get to the next slide that I want to caveat, but so these, I thought this was interesting. This is just a way to kind of reach out, like, why did you join? What did you want to accomplish from being a member? 70% want to make a difference in the local community. 59% want to take action in local progressive matters, kind of the same question. 56% learn more about progressive issues in my community. So an interest in learning more about what you don't already know. And I would say that it definitely falls in my category where I'm leading the education team, but I do not pretend to be the representative of education in Arvada. So I want to learn more. I'm interested in that topic. And then 54% want to socialize with like-minded people. So the summary of this is members are motivated to learn, take action, and make a difference in our community. Common theme across this survey was socialize with like-minded people. So I think these meetings are good, but the social events are going to really help people feel more connected to this group and connected with other progressives in Arvada. So that was kind of a key takeaway of this survey. And then there's a few others that people were interested in that didn't make the report, but next slide, please. And let me know if you want me to stop, if you have questions or want to discuss any of these sections more in depth. I think this one is where I want to caveat, it's hard to choose top 4 because all of these things are important to me. But we did want people to choose what is going to motivate people to get to these meetings. That does not mean because protecting the environment was top of list, that's the only thing we focus on. It just might be the way to get people in the door, the way to get people engaged. So 67% said protecting the environment was their top level or top area of interest. 54% electing progressive candidates. 43% supporting education, which I'm like, oh, gotta get that team going. And 37% affordable housing. And I threw the wealth inequities in there at the same, they're both like very similar, 32% wealth inequities. I think those kind of go hand in hand, affordable housing and wealth inequities. Yeah.
Yeah, healthcare had 3 different
Yeah.
things, so you should add all those 3 together.
Right. So we've got reproductive rights was, I mean, right behind these. So like we've got a lot of other, we've got affordable housing, reproductive rights, that are around the 30% wealth inequities. Where's the other? Improved Medicare for all. Yeah, 18%. And these are the top 4. So like, that's hard for me because that's another really important one, but I might have chosen, education environments. My media literacy is probably one of mine, and reproductive rights, because those are what got brought
What
in.
Kathy's trying to say is that there's a lot more interest in healthcare than is reflected in the survey.
Sure,
because
yeah.
they're split up into 3.
They're split up into
Because
3.
reproductive right is covered by healthcare, and then there's Medicare for all, and then there's another one in there. So there's a lot of interest in reproductive in healthcare.
Thank you, Bruce.
And I don't know if it was a write-in, because there's Medicare for all, and then there's improved Medicare for all.
There were 3.
Yeah.
I don't know how that happened. I think people started writing in their own, because
Oh.
building bridges, I didn't put that as an option.
Maybe that's how that.
So I think there might have been some extra write-ins, but yeah, so this doesn't mean the people aren't interested in healthcare. And that's why I wanted to caveat this one specifically, is because it shows what people are interested in. And there are a lot of, there's a lot of interest, and the progressive values span education to gun reform to, everything. So I think this group has a lot to offer anybody who is interested in a lot of different things. So I don't think we should remove any action groups or anything like that based on this survey. It's just a kind of a.
Is there a gun? I can't read the screen. Is there a gun reform?
Yes, and that was 27%. So I think it's definitely, and when we get to next, I think it might be the next slide, there were a few people that asked for a gun reform action committee. So I might be reaching out to those people and being like, would you like to head the gun reform action committee? But yeah, that was one that people were asking for specifically. So any other comments or?
Well, most of us moved to moms without, we don't do that in these kinds of groups. We do that in already in larger.
In established groups, yeah.
Established groups, right?
What might be nice for like the gun reform is not necessarily like coming up with our own initiatives here, but like the Giffords Foundation had reached out to us and asked us if we wanted to partner. We ended up not partnering on that event, but we did promote it in our latest newsletter to support their gun reform efforts in Colorado. So there are a lot of established groups, and I think maybe the best way that APA can interact with them is to partner with Moms Demand Action, or so they can let us know, hey, we're having an event, and we can promote that too, instead of trying to come up with our own events, that sort of thing.
I think the same thing is true of the reproductive rights.
Mhm.
I can't think of the name of the thing. It's like mosaic. It's got some
Cobalt.
Cobalt. Thank you.
That's one of our coalition partners.
Yeah.
And that's a big push in.
Yeah, well,
healthcare.
but that's
really
I've been
important.
in Cobalt forever.
Yeah.
And yeah, a way to kind of bring that in is maybe we just occasionally, if they have an event and that there's something coming up, or if there's an initiative that they want to push for, we add that into our newsletter. So there's some action items for people to do, and APA can support those things.
One thing that an action team could do is to keep us informed of those groups, but also, if we did have a gun control group or another group that of an issue we're not working on, they can invite these people in to do our monthly meeting
like give a
and
speech.
educate
Yeah,
and just be like a conduit.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's a great idea. So I think a gun reform action committee might be a good idea in like facilitating those relationships with the other
Right.
established groups.
Right.
So, yeah.
And that's what anti-war has done that too. Have a speaker from Rocky Mountain Peace and Justice or university or that type of thing.
Mhm. Yeah.
It seems like we gain, like Mindy, I think you kind of paved the way with your the action team was economy. And then you focused it on affordable housing, and now it's
Yeah.
affordable housing. And then you got connected to a lot of other regional groups. And it seemed like that's when the power started happening. And Kathy's same thing with the healthcare. We're much more connected now to other groups who are much bigger, much larger, have the lobbyists, all that, who are, working toward single payer in Colorado. And I can't speak to the other teams, but that connection, I mean, we are just a small little group and some of our teams are, 2, 3, 5 people. So it seems like that's a real way to be strong and make major contributions.
That's what I'm hoping to do with the education department or the action team too. We talked about the Jedi groups and a few other groups that I'm like following along, integrated schools, Inside Out. Our integrated schools is Denver based, but focuses on all Colorado and like bring people to their home schools. And so I'd like to I know a few people in those groups. And so that's what I'm hoping to do for the education team, is just to kind of get them telling me things that are happening. And then I can share that with the group and all that. So, yeah. So no, big shakeups with any of this information, just kind of like good information to have and know where people's passions are and how do we get them involved based on those. So, all right. Anything else on this side?
Well, kind of along those lines, I wonder if maybe at our general meetings, in addition to written communications, I think we used to have a little piece at the beginning where people could make announcements about meetings that are, things that were going on, not necessarily in their action team, but community, whatever. Maybe that would be another way to
Community.
be sharing information.
Yeah.
Like along with the Hope community,
Yeah.
announcements,
Yeah.
like community.
Although
having-
sometimes we run out of time.
Mhm.
It's a nice to have, and maybe that's why it got dropped, but.
Mhm.
Yeah, some of those announcements and things that have open discussion, that somebody can come, they have concern, they can express it, in a time frame that we have our program. I think people like coming and telling us something.
Mhm.
Some people, not everybody. but
Sharing what they're passionate about.
Their passions, yeah. Sorry.
And that might be a good thing for the end of the meeting. So if
Yeah,
people have to
maybe.
jet,
Yeah.
like, so we have a speaker and we have our formal like announcements. And then at the end, it's like, now we have a community like open forum, like come and say whatever it is. And if people need to linger and stay and talk about that thing, they can. And if people need to get out of here at 5:30,
Right.
they can leave. But kind of leave that more open for people to discuss at the end.
Yeah, we used to have the action team reports at the end. And we had one particular program that ran over.
Mhm.
And
Well, we
decided
used to
how-
be 2 hours long.
We used
when
to be 2 hours.
Before COVID, we
Right.
were 2 hours and there was more time. And now we're up to an hour and a half, and that's cool.
Probably.
That's cool.
So we're able to add more things.
Mhm.
Well, I don't know how easy or hard, or I see calls for lobby days. And so, the LGBTQ will have a big lobby day when, we go down. Gun reform has a big lobby day, and these are just You go to the state capitol, you have a little confab with like-minded people. And then in teams, you spread out with your little handouts to talk about issues with your representatives. And I think you've been to the lobby day at one time, but of course, I haven't been in the last couple of sessions, but there are several that I have gone to, periodically. And I think those, and the dilemma is that those come up rather organically. They don't come up on a newsletter deadline. They come up and I'll know on Monday that it's Thursday going to be going. It's not going to, it doesn't help me, the newsletter. And so I'm really disappointed that people aren't using Facebook, because that's instantaneous communication. And maybe we need to make Facebook a safer place for the members of this group. Maybe if we, cleaned it up and it wasn't so visible and it wasn't an all-comer space. But I don't know why people are, I've only seen
Well,
one.
I couldn't tell you some of the reasons people don't use Facebook.
Well,
Yeah,
no, but-
not necessarily. I don't know if they're not using Facebook like APA's Facebook. They're just not using Facebook. I like basically use Facebook
has a
just,
serious problem.
yeah.
APA does come up for me. Nothing. I couldn't even find what time the meeting was today. I had to search and go in and then look at events where I don't know what the algorithm is for what I see. Most of what I see is junk. It's stuff promoted. But for APA, it's nothing that just shows up. I have to search for it.
And that is something that I would like to, Quincy and I are on the communications team together. And Quincy, I don't know if you have any, I don't know if you're still on the call, but if you have any recommendations for how to make Facebook more accessible, we can.
Well, if we both.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but I just was like, you might have some feedback on this. It's our communication.
No, I have two quick thoughts there. The first is that you can turn on page notifications for pages that you follow. So I can circle back with you on how to do that via email or offline. The other thought that we might want to explore as well, and I hate to introduce another technology, but at least this is a bit more group oriented. I know that many of the other groups that I'm a part of have Slack channels or something similar, Teams channels, so that there's instant communication. You can find information easily. You can organize it by action team, but it's just a little bit more closed off. So you're not having to filter through all the junk if that's, if you're just kind of looking at your main feed. So that's also something to consider, but I can also follow up with some instructions on how to put the APA notifications at the top of your feed.
Yeah. And I think we have a public group and a private group, and that's a little confusing. And it's on my to-do list to design a new logo and like a new banner to like make those groups very obviously different so that we're not confusing the two, because that's confusing for me right now. I'll type APA and I'll get the public group and I need to go to the private group. Right. It's the community. So we may want to think about getting, I don't want to get rid of one of them, but we'll have to talk about like what's the best way to not confuse people with those two groups. So yes.
Here's just a question asked out of ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any way we could just have like a blog, like a place we could go that's not Facebook, not social media, that's just APA, that you can just post things by subject and by date and urgent information that we could easily go to just to look at?
Yes, we have a website. We have a website. It is not being utilized very well. That's another action item that we want to try to get more blogs up there. I would like to take over the calendar so that I can put the meetings on the calendar, because there's healthcare meetings on the calendar. Kathy does a great job. But I wanted like everybody's action teams on the calendar. Social events, and the monthly meetings that are not on the calendar. So yes, I would like to utilize our website better than it's being utilized right now. And that is something that Quincy and I are going to work on.
You could also set up a Google group So you basically,
do
it's
that.
kind of like a chat, and you'd have an email that either you would get every time somebody posted something to the group, or once a day you get an email. So it would be, again, more of an archaic kind of technology, but it does allow for more instantaneous communication and feedback.
That's essentially when Quincy brought up Slack, that's what Slack is. It's kind of like an instant messenger. Remember instant messenger? It's instant messenger. It can be on your phone. It can be on a computer, and you can set up channels and you can respond instantly to people and kind of keep in track.
Yeah, there's a point of history. We did try to, it's probably an old version of Slack, but about,
Well, right at
5
the
years
beginning.
ago, we really got into trying to use Slack. And it seemed to work for some things, but it was.
It's kind of miserable.
It could be a lot of notifications.
This is a couple of years.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
There are just too many political campaigns who only use Slack. So if you volunteer for political campaigns, if you have this mixed in with that, I mean, I'm out.
Yeah. It's too many notifications.
Yeah.
Probably.
Thousands of them.
Yeah.
Like every 20 seconds some days.
So I think, yeah.
So no on the Slack.
The way some people.
When we disperse a lot of ways to communicate and disperse it, we want a few that.
Yeah.
That really work. And I guess my question is, since we have so many problems and it's very hard to find information, it's illogical. You see something you like and it disappears, and it's structured to make one person a billionaire to spend with the rest of us. It algorithms accentuate conflict. I guess my question is, what's the future? Is there a competitor to
Twitter?
That's a joke. That might be the future. I mean, I don't want us to have another platform to post on, but if we get used to it, what's the future? And I mean, that's a question for Quincy and
Research
you.
that.
Research, somebody that has knowledge, have more intelligence than I do.
I think you should have a TikTok dance-off for peace.
Well, we have such a broad range of generations too, because some of the people only read their emails. They're not on any social media. They're not going to use anything other than maybe reading their emails.
I think the thing that we want to focus on first is utilizing our website better. And with a website, everybody can reach that, whether they're on social media or whatever, and then emails directing people to the website more. So like sending people to the website more. So I think that would be our first step. And then we can start talking about how to integrate other technologies if we feel that's necessary. So that's
and
my
once
2
it's
cents.
kept current, we'll become accustomed to that's where we
Going
go.
to the website, because right now you go to the website there, it's not current, and so you're not getting information that you need. But what if we keep it current and we push people there, then there's always going to be a place, whether you're on Facebook or not, to get information.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
Websites, good old fashioned website.
Allison, fully agree. I'm going to jump here quickly too and say, kind of in answer to the question about the future of social, I think that website's a great place to focus, and getting people on our email server is a great place to focus, because if the fall of Twitter has taught us anything, it's that things can happen very quickly, and forces for good can quickly turn into forces for evil. So even the new ones that we're seeing kind of pop up in the wake of Elon Musk nonsense, they always kind of run the risk of turning a corner that we don't love, or gathering a population of folks that we don't want to hear from. So I think I totally agree with Allison, leaning into the properties that we own. Our website and our email list are going to be a great place to invest time and resources.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. On the emails, I think part of the problem that we all have when we go, oh, let's see, I want to be sure that the meeting's at 4:00. Be sure the meeting's going to be over at the same church. I want to be sure I've got the link, right? Sometimes I, beam up. And I'll go look to, I know I got it in Gmail. So I'll go over and I'll search in Gmail for Arvadans for Progressive Action. I have two on my search right now, 9/14/22 and 8/23/22, the only ones that come up. So we need to have, because I don't know to search for Quincy.
Mm-hmm.
And so, so we need to have some sort of a consistent, if those were sent from Arvadans email address, they would come up.
Yes.
If they
So all the
always send
emails-
Arvadans in the subject line. Yeah, so-
All the emails that we
Don't know
currently
how to
send,
fix that.
the sender is, the name of the sender is listed as me. It's Quincy, APA calls to action if I'm sending a weekly email. But the Gmail that we send it from, like that reply to address, is our Arvadans for Progressive Action at gmail.com. So that should be searchable for you.
It isn't actually.
Okay.
I'm wondering if we run some tests, Quincy, about like changing your name to like Arvadans for Progressive Action or some,
Yeah, you
For
can
sure,
change
yeah.
it, send it on the mail.
Yeah, just we can talk about how maybe to best do that, or maybe there's an automatic email that goes out on like Saturday mornings with like, hey, reminder, meeting, here's the Zoom link, here's the thing, so it's fresh in your inbox
Yeah.
versus Monday, almost a week ago. So we can talk about some ways to like maybe help.
Yeah, just check out, try some searches, because if I search for Quincy, it comes up.
Yeah,
But I couldn't remember
But it
Quincy's
used to be
name.
Robin sending the emails and. if I
right, it
send the email,
changes.
Right, yeah, and so that, yeah.
Yeah,
So
Okay.
they just kind of go hide.
That's good feedback, because I kind of had the same issue one meeting where I was on my way here, but I couldn't remember the address of the church one of the first times. And I couldn't find the
Yeah,
email.
I mean, it's just little things like that, the little connectors.
yeah.
I can't find a link to the email, to the website in your email.
In the email. Okay,
You should like always have a link to your website. in the email.
that top logo doesn't link.
Top logo.
No, I think she's doing that.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, both the top.
We can
and
make sure,
the top and bottom logo should link to the website.
Your web blog,
Yeah.
you've got plenty of events.
we can maybe add another, the logos in the email should, but I guess if they're not loading, like if you've turned off your emails, that's good feedback too. We could have like a little icon down where the Facebook page icon is. That's like a website link.
Oh, it is an active, it just.
It's almost
Yeah,
like
it is, but-
Okay, next slide. I don't have to read. These are a little bit easier. Did you know that APA has the following action committees? Yes, people have joined. Yes. 44% have joined. Yes, but I've not joined yet. The colors are off, but I think it's just the 41%.
It's blue.
Then no, I don't know, but I'll check them out. Is 8, and then there was 6% of people who said, I'm not interested in any of your action committees. So those are people that are like in the group that are still like, none of these are for me. So I don't know what we do about that, but we talked about gun reform being maybe another one of interest, or just kind of sending those out, sending out interesting items in the newsletter that pertain to some of those other topics that people are interested in. Next slide. So this is the slide where, is there any action committees that you wish APA had? 2 people said gun reform, diversity, equity, inclusion. That was interesting. We kind of we're not like necessarily partners with the ASJ, but ASJ kind of takes on that role. A lot of people are members of both groups. So I think it's great that we work with the ASJ and like when people have specific questions about diversity, equity, inclusion, we can say, well, we know this great group and they are very, they're active there. Not that we're ignoring it. We're kind of, if they ever bring anything up to us, it's on our Facebook group. It's on our things as well.
Yeah, just a quick comment. ASJ, they've done some wonderful work, transparency police and all that, and various things, but they do not want to be political.
Right.
So we can partner with them, and if there's something that they're working on, that there's a political component that they don't want anything to do with.
They don't want to endorse candidates.
Yeah, they don't want to endorse candidates, they don't want to really be that. We can coordinate with them and we can kind of do the political. But I don't know if we need to have an action group or not.
Yeah.
I don't think you need to have action really. I'm Black and Indigenous. I live in Arvada. I'm very rare of being here.
Can you speak up here?
Yeah, I'm Black and Indigenous. I'm very rare in Arvada. And I know when Arvada did the 150th anniversary around the plating, I had to go solo for the city to do land acknowledgement with it. ASJ wouldn't back it. It wouldn't work.
Really?
So,
Okay.
yeah, I'm not saying you need to have a group here, but I am more inclined to do things with APA than ASJ for those countries.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's good feedback. So, so do you think that we need, I mean, because there were a few people that were interested in this diversity, equity, inclusion. Do we need a liaison for APA for that? Because I mean, it is a topic that a lot of people are interested in. But yeah.
Yeah, I like your idea, that word liaison, because
Yeah.
like even gun reform, we had someone who's very interested in that, but he did not want to lead an action team, because that puts you in, you have to have a lot of meetings, leadership meetings. It's a more formal role, a bigger time commitment, but maybe calling them a liaison, where they could invite speakers or could, serve that purpose, working with other groups. I think that might be something.
Mhm. It's not as much of a time commitment of like, I'm leading this group, actions. It's more of like, I'm a liaison for social diversity, inclusion issues in Arvada, like
Yeah,
that sort
I
of
kind
thing.
of see APA, honestly, like you all are more integrated with some of the Jedi principles
Mhm.
than having to silo.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's something that I've seen with my limited involvement. with groups.
Mhm.
So I don't necessarily think it needs to be a new.
We're
set.
incorporating it into like education, into healthcare, into, okay,
Yeah, right. That's good.
into the different sections. And I mean, yeah, that's a good point. I think it is, and it doesn't necessarily need to be called out, but it's something that, because people are interested in it, we want to make sure that when we are talking about education, when we're talking about healthcare, we always want to make sure we're inclusive, which I think we are, but just to focus on that aspect of it. Transportation, I think that was from Ian as well, but he's the leader in our transportation APA group.
We can give him an earful.
Transportation liaison.
He's our transportation liaison. So, and social media countering disinformation. I thought that one was interesting and important. We haven't what was that I signed up for with Jody?
Truth
Truth Brigade. I would love somebody else to take that over. So next slide, I think we had, maybe it's the next one or next slide. Yeah. Yes, skills, special skills that people can offer. So there were a few people that said messaging. 10. That was our biggest thing that people said that they have backgrounds in messaging. I want to reach out to all of these people and figure out what their messaging strategies are, and maybe get some a commenting committee on our Facebook page to kind of facilitate conversation. Same with on our blog, but also countering disinformation. What can we do as a group on our other social media networks? That was something that I started doing last year, kind of dropped off of, but I'm very much interested. There's messaging for all of our initiatives. So we want to create that messaging, and then how do we allow other members to spread that messaging throughout Arvada, either via whatever your social media joy is, like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, just texting your friend, any of those. So we got people who have jobs and skills that we can utilize. So messaging, organizing, some educators, marketing, design, web development. I'll be reaching, Quincy will talk about names of marketing, design, web development, and messaging people. I'd love to reach out to all those people. policy writing and bookkeeping, like we've got talented people who do things in their day job. We just want to utilize those skills. So we have the names and emails of all the people that have like reached out and said, like, I have a special skill. So we'll reach out to those people and use them.
And we have one person here who has said they could provide comic relief.
Was that you?
No.
No, that's you.
I know who that is.
Always necessary. I think that's good. We need that.
Interpretive dance would be good too.
Okay, I just would like to say it's a little past 5:30, so if people have to leave, we said we'd end at 5:30, but if you can stay and
I
finish.
think this is, there might be one more slide, but we're almost done. Yeah.
So-
But yeah,
Okay.
feel free to leave if you need to.
Next slide.
All right, next slide. Are you interested in leadership position?
No.
I don't know. I can't, I'm pretty sure that not right now is the biggest one, that's 34%. I'm interested, but like to learn more. I think, which one?
That's
14%. And then, yes, I'm ready to join the leadership team. I'm pretty sure those are people that are already.
And many of us are ready to hand the baton.
So we'll, those people that are interested would like to learn more, maybe a liaison position would be an easy first step in, where you're not in charge of anything. We just want you to reach out to a few different groups for gun reform or for diversity, inclusion, and how can we communicate with that group? So not a huge position, maybe a little less intimidating than, being chair. So I like that. I mean, I just said the word and then, but you're the one that called out. You're like, that sounds less scary. That's what we want, less scary, less intimidating. So we just want everything to be approachable. And I think that's my last slide. Is there one more? Oh yeah, that's kind of important. Are you interested in seeing more of the following events in 2023? 78% said meet the candidates. So that one was very popular. I really enjoyed that too. I mean, it was really, yeah, that Joyce, that was awesome. Just being able to meet like the treasurer and the county coroner, like just knowing those people and then going to the ballot, just felt way more connected to this community. And especially since I was this was my first time voting in Arvada, it was just really nice to like have a face and actually know those candidates. So that
And
was
I
great.
just want everybody to know that we try to be nonpartisan, and everyone was invited, and you saw who came. They all had a D behind them.
And the winners.
And the winners.
And I think that's great. I invite if people have a platform that is progressive, love to hear it. They're Republican or Democrat or an independent. There might be some independent candidates in Arvada that would be potential. So,
And we have a new, right? The no label party just got approved.
Yeah.
no label party.
The no label party.
Maybe some workshopping on that name, but
Well, generally, I think I've heard the no label party in other places, and they're usually a centrist pro-corporate. Kind of.
Yeah.
yeah. All right.
Sounds-
So other than meet the candidates, 70% said they'd like to hear local speakers. 56% regular monthly meetings. Those are still happening, so that's good. And then 56% happy hour and social events. So I think I think we want to make sure we're right on track. We have monthly meetings. I think we might get a different crowd at each. So there might be some people that come to monthly meetings. There might be some people that just come to socials, and that's great. People want to socialize with they might hear about things through the grapevine that way, and that's great.
And the first one was very successful.
Yeah,
Yes,
it was
It was
nice.
really.
And there were some people that, well, and Sharon joined APA based on coming to that. So She came to our social event and she said, you know what, I think I'm gonna come and become a member of APA. So that was great. So yeah, I think it went well and excited to see more. So thank you for taking the leadership on that.
Hoping somebody will help.
I'm into partying. And then the 43% new member coffee, that kind of goes with the social happy hours, but you know, reaching out to new members and having a coffee with them, I'm sure it's something to get them. We're not a scary group, but it's like it's hard to not know anybody. Will hopefully be less intimidating. So that's the feedback from that page. And next slide.
I think that's it.
That's it. Okay, there. Now we reached.
Thank you.
So. And I didn't do much. I just sent out the survey and made the.
Well, I do. Come in and are lots of, now there's a whole bunch of action teams and we all need help. And, you know, I, for one, I've been at this since 2016 and I'm ready to hand the baton over. I have lots of information to pass on, but it's kind of fun, you know, getting to know the candidates and dinging them to answer questions and, you know,
What if we
to
got
come to
you like
events.
a
So.
couple of assistants? Would that be
Pardon?
helpful? A couple
Well,
of
assistance, yes, would be helpful. I would
Okay.
take anything I can.
I have volunteered, so if you ever got me on the list, you need to put me back on.
That's right. Okay.
That's great.
I have volunteered.
I'm looking for,
I don't do meetings, but I will assist.
if anyone wants to talk about, and they want to get on my list. I'll be happy to.
Hey, we are done. Thank you again for coming.